So obviously, Crawford has just come off one of the biggest wins of his career when he beat Errol Spence, and now he's undisputed at welterweight. Now, obviously, there may be a rematch clause that's exercised by Spence, and if that rematch clause is exercised, I personally think that Crawford should just take the fight. The reason why I think he should take the fight against Spence is because, first of all, um, it's going to be a huge payday. So even if he gets half of what he made for the first Spence fight, so let's just say the first Spence fight, I think he made 10 million guaranteed, and then he got pay per view on top of that. So let's just say, just to keep it conservative, he made 15 million in that fight. The second one, I think he can at least make 5 to 7 million. So I think he should take the fight because obviously he beat him so decisively in the first fight. If he could try knocking him out in the second fight, then that would really stamp his authority on the division and prove that he's the man. And on top of that, like if he's contractually obliged to take that fight, I think he should take it. Me personally, I don't really want to watch it as a fan because I feel like the first fight was so it was so one-sided that it's not even worth watching. We know what's going to happen. If anything, Crawford is probably going to perform better in the second fight than the first fight, because the first fight there's still that element of risk there, because obviously he probably knew that Errol Spence is a dangerous fighter, and he is a dangerous fighter. Let's not get that twisted. But now that he's beaten him so decisively and he dropped him 3 4 times, that element of risk is probably gone. He knows that he can handle him. So with that being said, he'll probably be more confident and brazen. And in the second fight, he'll probably try stopping him. He can probably try stopping him. So if that second fight is given to Crawford, I think he should take it because it's an easy win and it's an easy payday, and he'll assert his dominance on the division. He'll prove to everyone that he's undeniably the man of that division at this point in time, and he can also like destroy Spence and further show his dominance in that division. But one fight in the interim that might be worth him taking is a fight against Keith Thurman. Now, obviously, Keith Thurman is not the Keith Thurman of old. The Keith Thurman of old was that unified champion who beat, I believe he beat Sean Porter when Sean Porter was in his prime in a welterweight classic. He beat Danny Garcia and he had the WBA and WBC championship. But then he got plagued with injuries. He got married and then he lost to Pacquiao, and he's only had 1 or 2 fights after that against Barrios. But the reason why I think Crawford should take the fight is because, first of all, to some extent, it's an easy win. So Keith Thurman has not been the same since he unified. I think what happened with him was that he became a unified champion, and I think he just got a bit lazy and started resting on his laurels. He got married and then he got a bit conservative and he settled down, and he just doesn't have that edge to him yet. He's got the talent, and obviously there is other factors as well, like injuries. He's got the talent, but he just doesn't have that hunger to really prove himself. But I think if Crawford can beat that guy, even though he's past his prime. I made a previous video talking about Crawford's resume. Despite the fact that he's a two-time undisputed champion, I feel like his resume is lacking if you compare him to the likes of a Mayweather. Mayweather beat like 24 world champions, and a lot of them were past their primes, but he still fought them names. But I feel like Crawford needs to build his resume if he wants to create a great legacy for himself, especially in the welterweight division. So one way he could do that is if he beats Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman's a respected champion. Don't get it twisted. He's not the monster he was back in the day, but he's still a good fighter. If he can beat Keith Thurman, that's another notch that you can put on his resume. That's another victory in the welterweight division that you can say that he did. And don't get it twisted. Keith Thurman's not the Keith Thurman of old, but it's an easy win. It's a good payday, and I think you should just take the fight. If I had the choice, though, I'm just talking about taking a Keith Thurman fight as an interim fight. But if I had the choice of who I'd want Thingy to fight, Terrence Crawford to fight next, it'll probably be Jerome Ennis. I think the Jerome Ennis fight is the fight that makes the most sense. But Jerome Ennis needs to kind of earn that fight. And the way I think he should earn that fight is if Jerome Ennis can beat a Virgil Ortiz or beat several other fighters like a Keith Thurman. If Jerome Ennis can beat a Keith Thurman or even fight Spence and beat Spence, if he can do that, then I think he's earned the title shot against Terrence Crawford. The problem with the welterweight division is it doesn't seem that stacked. If you compare it to 140, where you have fighters like Devin Haney, Cambosis, Teofimo Lopez, Josh Taylor, you've got all these great fighters. I think 140 is a lot more stacked than 147. So as an interim keep busy fight, I think he should fight Keith Thurman, and I think he can beat him. But that's just my opinion. Tell me your opinion. Do you think Keith Thurman stands any chance against this current version of Crawford? I don't think he stands a chance against him. I think he'll beat Keith Thurman, but I think he's an easy win, and it could bolster his resume a bit more and make it look more impressive than it already is, because he's already undisputed. He doesn't need to fight any more champions because he's got all the belts. So I think he should just take little side missions. He's completed his main quest. He's completed his main mission. He's undisputed at welterweight, but he could take little side missions where he fights good fighters that might not be the best fighters in the division, but good fighters, and he can bolster his resume. And it's an easy payday. And on top of that, on his resume, it will look good to say that he beat Keith Thurman, because I think Keith Thurman's only got one loss to Pacquiao. Apart from that, I don't think he's got any other losses. So if Terrence Crawford could give him a second loss, that would be quite impressive. Tell me what you think below. I'm not thinking as a boxing fan, by the way. I'm thinking as a boxing manager. If I was managing Crawford's career, I'll say to him, listen, if you get the rematch against Spence, take that. Take the rematch because it's in your contract and it's contractual. Beat the crap out of him and knock him out this time. Don't just don't get a TKO victory. Don't get like a few knockdowns here and there. Knock him out so it proves your dominance in the division. And for an interim fight, I think you should fight Keith Thurman. It's an easy victory, and it's a notch on your resume, and you can make your welterweight resume look even more impressive. And on top of that, you could literally become it'll make your resume look more impressive, and it's an easy payday. And the reason why you should take that fight is it gives an opportunity for Jerome Ennis to fight a good fighter and earn the position to fight Crawford. And then I think he should take the fight against Crawford should take the fight against Jerome Ennis and completely destroy him. And then Jerome Ennis, let's say he goes on to have a great career after his loss to Bud Crawford. It will only make Crawford's resume look better. It's like when Mayweather beat Canelo. Canelo then went on to do great things, and he only made Mayweather's resume look even better. But tell me what you think below. Do you think what I'm saying is true? Do you think he should take the fight against Keith Thurman, or do you think he should just chill and wait until Jerome Ennis is ready to fight him? I think he's a champion who's in his prime, so he should be active. He should beat the crap out of Keith Thurman, beat the crap out of Spence and try stopping him, and wait for Jerome Ennis to get to that level and then fight him and beat him as well. And then eventually move up to 154 and try becoming undisputed there by beating Charlo. Tell me what you think below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace.